Gunstar Heroes. Now, it's no secret to anyone who's ever played the Sega Genesis that Gunstar Heroes is one of its greatest titles, and rightfully so. It has all of the standard anime tropes. You have your rival that's edgy, he looks angry, he looks pissed off. The soundtrack is amazing, the gameplay is absolutely high speed, and there is a very good variety in terms of level selection. You get to see and you get to visit many different places, and the gameplay is something that actually sticks out on its own. Gunstar Heroes brings you a system in which you can grab 2 different ammunition types out of a wide selection of maybe 4 or 5 of them. And what's really unique about this is that not only can you use those 2 different ammo types individually, but you can also combine them for some truly devastating effects. Really, try out the laser plus seeker combination. You will be demolishing everyone. And also, this game has 2 characters that you can play as, and there's a difference between them. One of them moves while he shoots, and the second one can only fire while stationary, but can fire in every single direction. This is one anime Genesis game that every once in a while I'll boot, beat, and be happy. Alicia Dragoon. I decided to choose this title for this list, not only because it's a very good game, but there is something that's very peculiar about Alicia Dragoon. 16-bit generation games, they were quite notorious for their unbalanced difficulty. Now, of course, it wasn't as bad as it was in the 8-bit era, the Nintendo era. And Alicia Dragoon brings everything that you'd expect from a good platformer, from a good action game. The gameplay is tight, your character responds really well to your inputs, and besides that, you have a dynamic dragon system. And yes, I just made that name up, but that's really what it is. You're able to select among quite a diverse cast of supporting dragons, and you can level each of them up, and besides that, they have their own health bar which can be replenished through items you find on stage, and you can also evolve them. So really, picking the correct dragon can, and a lot of the times will, mean the difference between victory and defeat. I highly recommend this title, as I do every single one containing this list. Alien Soldier. Now, this is a game that's very close to my heart. First and foremost, this may sound weird to some of you, but because of its soundtrack. Alien Soldier's soundtrack is absolutely ridiculous. Once you're done, please head over to YouTube, actually stay on YouTube, and look for its soundtrack and give it a good listen. It's amazing. It's vibrant, it's powerful, it's fast, just like this game is. Now, Alien Soldier functions a little bit differently than most games from its generation would. Actually, from most games in general. Because, you see, the game follows this structure where it has a very short segment with regular enemies, but the main course in Alien Soldier are this game's bosses, and let me tell you right now, you won't be left wanting for variety. And I'm gonna tell you right now, this game is tough. However, to balance things out, your character is highly agile. You are extremely mobile. This game is going to kick your ass, but trust me, it's so engaging, it's so compelling that you're gonna keep coming back until you best it. Landstalker. This was one of the holy grails among my friends when we were kids, because this game was so good, it was so sought after, that finding it at a video rental store was pretty much impossible. It was never there. And with good reason, because this would be some sort of, how can I put this, a Genesis version of a Legend of Zelda. Now, I know, some of you are already thinking, well, there's a better game for that. It's called Beyond Oasis. And rest assured, I will be discussing Beyond Oasis pretty soon in another video. But getting back to Landstalker, all of the basic action RPG elements are there. You have NPCs, you have townsfolk, you have stores, you can buy potions, you can get upgrades for your weapons, better equipment, better armor, different stone. You set out to explore difficult dungeons, you face some very interesting bosses, you have healing items. Really, if you're looking for a game that reminds you of Zelda but still has enough personality to add a twist of its own, then Landstalker is the game for you. Ranger X. Now, this is another title I hold very close to my heart because to me it's one of the Genesis' best games ever. You see, in this title you will control this machine, which by its looks you can already tell is highly mobile, and I'm glad to say that it actually is. The level, design, and variety contained in Ranger X is absolutely amazing. It's a game I always have a blast whenever I play it. And there are a couple of different things here. You can see right there that we have this bike. And the cool thing about it is that if you owned, oh well, back then, if you own a 6-button controller, then you could actually control your bike independently from your mech. And there's a few number of things you can do, you know. You can use your bike independently, you can ride it, you can merge with it. Really, man, if you're a mecha anime fan, then play this. No need to thank me. Okay. Or you could choose to subscribe to this channel and leave a like on this video. Yeah, that would be very good. Strider 1. I know this seems like I'm talking about Ace Combat 7, which is a game I'm going to be covering pretty soon in this channel, along with my Hoda's Thrustmaster 4. You know, it's a flight stick, it's amazing, I've been having a lot of fun with it. But I'm talking about Strider, the game, you know, the ninja that wields the plasma sword. Just by its looks, you can tell that this game is very early Genesis. But don't let this game's looks fool you, okay? It's full of content, it's full of variety. From giant apes to a mechanical centipede, which you can actually climb on, which was really innovative for the time. Everyone talked about it when we saw it. While Strider offers a very high difficulty, it will also make sure to make you feel like an overpowered ninja. Give it a go. Moosha Elastic. I don't know about you, but I am a huge fan of good shoot-em-ups. I'm not a fan of bullet hell games like Toho. I know there's a lot of you out there, but Moosha Elastic presents us high-speed action with amazing visuals, great soundtrack, tight controllers, and a very good selection of weapons. This game will push you over the edge in order for you to conquer it, but it's worth every single second. And shooting games just have something about them that you always keep coming back for more, even after you've beaten them. You know, you're gonna be replaying it just so you can improve. That's the power of the genre. And hey, while we're at it, I want you to recommend me some really good shooter games, Genesis or otherwise. I'm gonna be sure to check them out. So please, go ahead and do so. ESWAT. This game needs no introduction. It's an absolute masterpiece, and masterpiece is a term I very seldomly use. For the first regular stages of the game, you will play as a regular cop, and the gameplay is pretty standard, it's pretty tight. You have your pistol, you can perform normal jumps, you can perform high jumps. There's good variety in terms of enemies. You'll be facing choppers, you'll be facing twins, cyborg demons, there's all sorts of fun stuff. But the real fun starts once you get your power suit. Once you do so, you'll enter demolition mode. You have several different weapon types that you can actually use, and they are all very different from one another, and not having one of them, one particular of them, in a specific stage could make your life hell. But even so, ESWAT's difficulty is extremely well balanced, and this is, I think, you know, this is a very common. This is something that's common among all the games that I've inserted into this list, even among games that are harder. You know, there's two different types of hard games. There's cheap hard and balanced hard. You know what I mean? And here's a little bit of a fun fact about this version of ESWAT, because yes, the original game was released on the arcade, and if you go on YouTube and watch a video about it, or if you decide to play it for yourself, then you're gonna see that the original game was substantially different from what we got in the console version. Sure, it had many cool aspects to it, but if you ask me, the Genesis version is where it's at. Thunder Force 4. This is the second shoot-'em-up game featured in this list, and in my heart, this is one of the best shoot-'em-up games of all time. Really, because instead of a top-down view like you would get in Moosha Elastic, in here, it's side-scrolling. And each of the worlds you get to visit is very unique. They really put their heart and soul into making the most out of what they had. It was a grand experience, and if you ask me, Thunder Force 4's soundtrack is one of the best soundtracks you'll ever hear in your life. And much to absolutely no one's surprise, we have Phantasy Star 4. The Sega Genesis didn't have as many striking RPGs as the Super Nintendo had, but to me, Phantasy Star 4 always felt like the developers thought, okay, so the Genesis doesn't have a whole lot of RPGs, well, let's make one that's absolutely brilliant, one that's absolutely grand, with its futuristic setting and charismatic cast of characters, from Alice Bradwin, I think it was Bradwin, her last name, the Hunter, to Chaz, her apprentice, to Brune, the cocky mage. You not only get plenty of good interaction between them, but the way that's presented to you is awesome. You see, you will always get those mighty cutscene sequences where the characters are going to exchange words, they're going to exchange information, whenever something vital, something more important comes up, and believe me, a lot of important stuff is going to happen in Phantasy Star 4. And to this very day, those cutscenes, they really blow me away because, again, man, this was done on a 16-bit console, and this wasn't the norm, you know? This was far from being the norm. So when I booted this game up for the first time and had contact with it, I was blown away. It was instant love. Plus, I believe that Phantasy Star 4 has one of the best opening songs ever, which is the one you're listening to right now. I believe it's called The End of the Millennium. Phantasy Star 4 is sheer mid-80s anime. I cannot recommend this game enough. If you're only gonna play a single game out of this entire list, go for Phantasy Star 4. Which is available on the Sega Genesis Mini, which I will be covering to you. Of course, it was released a few years ago, but since it's such a good machine, since it's such a good console to have at home, not only for the visual aspect of it, you know, the decoration aspect, but it handles really well, I thought, you know, let's review it for the boys. Let's let them know what this one's all about if they're still on the fence. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it when it comes out. I'm not going to be doing it exactly right away. I still have a couple of other projects I need to clear, but trust me, it's going to come and it's going to be awesome. So this was it for the top 10 anime Genesis games you must play, and as I always ask you in videos like this, let me know your own top 10. I really want to know because there are always games we can get to know of, you know, some games we don't know. I hope you had a great time watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Vamos out.